Hi, we're going to continue to learn about solving equations, okay? Last week we did the one-step solving equations, and this week we're going to do multi-step. But today we're going to start with just the two-step solving equations. Okay, so if you see here, this is our journey table. That's what I'm starting to call it. And it's a little different because it's not just journey, because it's not one step. But we have two journeys, and that's why there's two rows of this pink, blue, pink. Okay. Now remember, the orange ones are equal to each other, and then the same here, orange. These two are equal to each other. The pinks are inverse operations. Okay, and then and here is our equation, and this is where we want to get to the solution. Now you don't have to use a table every time, but if you're stuck and you don't know what to do next, then start to do the table. If you could do it vertically without the table, which I'll show in a little bit, then that's fine. That's steps, okay? But I'd have this table to help you break down what's going on in our equation. That way we know how things went going forward. And because of that, we can figure out how to go backwards, okay? So here's our first two-step equation that we're going to do for an example. We have 2x plus 4 is equal to 12. That's the equation that they want us to solve, which means a solution. So to begin this journey, we are going to start with x. Okay, actually, I'm just going to write. Let's go, yeah. All right, so we start with x. Every journey begins with x because when we're trying to solve for x, that's where we want to go back to. What was x? Okay, right now, all we know is we began with x. Okay, and so the first journey here, when we look at this, is there's two operations. Was it plus 4 or was it times by 2 first? Okay, if it was x plus 4, then it would, if the first thing was plus 4, then that means multiply by 2 happened after. And if that was the case, there would be these parentheses here to say x plus 4 happened first, and then we times by 2. But that's not what happened because there are no parentheses. So we know that the first thing that happened was times by 2. So I'm going to do the dot times sign, times by 2. Okay, that was our first journey. And then what happened after they times by 2 was that they added 4. Okay, so following this journey takes us to the end, where the end of journey x, where it was 2 times x. That's what happened first, and then plus 4. And then we know that that's the end of the journey algebraically. And here we have equals 12. So we know that this expression is equal to 12. And that's why we kind of put over here, and the orange box right next to it is 12. Okay, now we know our inverse operations. Now, we know our journey. Now we can use our inverse operations to help us go backwards. The inverse operation of this plus 4 is going to be a minus 4, right? Those are inverse operations. They're going to undo things, okay? And then the inverse operation of times 2 is divided by 2. Okay, so we filled out our inverse operations. Okay, now let's see what it looks like numerically. So we start to go backwards at the end of our numeric, right? Which is the 12. And this is where we start to go backwards. So we start with a 12. And the first thing we're going to do is minus the 4. So we're going to go 12 minus 4. This combined takes us to 8. Okay. And then on this row, we're going to do the inverse operation, which is divided by 2. So we're going to go 8 divided by 2. And 8 divided by 2 is 4. And so our solution is x equals 4. Poor doggy. Lazy, come give love to Coco. Okay, sorry, divided by 2. Where was I? X equals 4. Okay, so this was our solution. Okay, now anytime we have equations, we can always check if we got to the right solution by plugging in this x equals 4 into our equation and plug it in 4x. Okay, and then that would become, you would do the math to say, okay, 2 times 4, right, plus 4. And we want to check, is it equal to 12? 2 times 4 is 8, and 8 plus 4, hey, what do you know? It is equal to 12. So this is a true statement. Therefore, x does equal 4. Okay, so when you take tests and quizzes, you don't have to be like, well, I hope I answered that correctly, because you don't have to hope. You plug it back in and you can check. And if you get a false statement like 8 equals 12, 5 equals 2, or something that does not equal to each other, then that means you did something wrong. Either in checking your work was wrong, the math there was wrong, or in your original solving the equation was wrong. But something is wrong, and you shouldn't turn in the test just because you're done. But if you know you're wrong, then don't turn it in. Figure it out. Where did you go wrong? Okay. And the test isn't that place where you're learning how to solve equations. So you really got to work by yourself and practice, practice, practice. Realize what you don't know and work on it so that you can know what to do. Okay, so this is our solving equations with 2 steps and working backwards to get to a solution. In addition, we also talked about how to plug in our value of x into our equation to make sure we got the right one.